At some point, you stop expecting help. Not dramatically, not after failure, quietly. You notice it when something goes wrong and your mind doesn't look outward anymore. No one to call, no one to escalate to, no moment where responsibility gets handed back. You handle it. And afterwards, you realize something unsettling. You didn't feel abandoned. You felt clear. Clear that whatever happens next will happen through you or not at all. That's the moment most men never talk about, because it doesn't arrive with panic. It arrives with silence. The silence where expectation used to live. For a long time, life trains you to believe that relief exists somewhere outside of you. A person, a break, a moment when things finally ease. Early on, that belief makes sense. There are people to rely on, structures that catch you, margins for error. But gradually, without ceremony, those margins disappear. Responsibility accumulates, decisions stack, consequences stretch longer. And one day you realize that the safety net you assumed was there has always been removed piece by piece without anyone announcing it. Not because you failed, because you grew into a position where failure can't be offloaded. That's when waiting starts to feel strange. Waiting for clarity, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to take the weight. The waiting doesn't hurt yet. It just feels outdated. You begin to notice that every problem now lands in the same place. On your desk, in your mind, in your body, and something shifts. Not into fear, into finality. You stop asking, who will handle this? And start asking, what am I going to do? The question doesn't excite you. It doesn't empower you. It simply arrives. And once it does, it never leaves. This is the part that's difficult to articulate, because realizing no one is coming doesn't make you heroic. It makes you alone in a very specific way. Not isolated, not unsupported, but unrescued. You understand that if you misjudge something, the consequences will be yours to absorb. If you hesitate, time will not pause to accommodate you. If you choose poorly, there will be no appeal. That knowledge changes how you move. You become less dramatic, less expressive, not because you don't feel, but because feeling no longer changes the math. You begin to respect decisiveness, not as strength, but as necessity. You stop confusing hope with strategy. You stop expecting circumstances to soften on their own. And slowly, you stop orienting your life around relief. That's the real shift. Not that you accept pressure, but that you stop believing pressure will be removed. Most men spent years waiting for a lighter season. This realization ends that waiting. It doesn't make life heavier immediately. It makes it more exact. You notice how much of your energy was spent assuming things would eventually ease. You notice how many decisions were deferred under the belief that someone else would step in. And once that belief dissolves, your choices become sharper. Not bolder, cleaner. Because when no one is coming, there's no benefit to posturing, no value in delay, no reason to pretend you're not the one who will have to live with the outcome. This isn't motivation, it's orientation. A recentering around the truth that your life is not waiting to begin. It's already in motion. And whatever you don't decide, decides itself. That's the cost of this realization. You lose the comfort of anticipation, but you gain something quieter. You gain the understanding that your life is not being held open by anyone else, which means it cannot be handed back. There's no ceremony for this moment, no announcement, no validation, just a steady awareness that the responsibility you carry is permanent. And strangely, once you accept that, a certain kind of confusion disappears. Not because things get easier, but because you stop expecting them to. You no longer wait for rescue. You no longer plan for relief. You act from where you actually are. And that changes the weight of every choice. Not by making it lighter, by making it yours.